Yep, we have to talk about it. The Abbotsford Canucks, everybody, they have qualified for the Calder Cup Finals. No, not the Calder as in the Calder that's given out to the NHL's Rookie of the Year, but the Calder Cup as in the AHL's Tournament Championship. The Abby Canucks defeated the Dallas Stars farm team, the Texas Stars, yesterday in game number 6 to advance to the final and book a date with the Charlotte Checkers, the Carolina Hurricanes AHL affiliate. Here's the schedule just in case you wanted to check it out. Friday, June 13th is Game 1, Abbotsford at... okay, we're not going to read their abbreviation because that is kind of inappropriate, but Games 1 and 2 are in Charlotte, Games 3, 4, 5 are in Abbotsford, and then Games 6 and 7 are in Charlotte. The Checkers haven't lost a playoff game in 2 rounds, so they're doing pretty well, I would say. Probably the favorite here, but unfortunately, they have an Abbotsford Canucks team that's been on fire, standing in between their Calder Cup goals. But I wanted to use this video as an opportunity to talk about some of the guys in Abbotsford that have been playing well. And I wanted to start out with none other than the guy who is putting Thatcher Demko's name back in trade talks, Arturs Silovs, baby. The guy had himself back-to-back 920 save performance nights, 2 games in a row where he had let in 2 goals on 25 shots against. He had some duds in there. Games 3 and 4 against Texas weren't particularly great in the save percentage department, but if you go back to a certain stint towards the end of May, Arturs Silovs has been very, very good. Multiple shutouts, 940 pluses, he has been dominant. And at 24 years old, you would hope that this would inevitably be the end of Arturs Silovs' AHL development before he inevitably becomes an NHL guy. Now, of course, it's going to be difficult to do that with Demko and Kevin Lankinen in front of you, but that's why a lot of folks are going out there and debating whether or not some of these names could be on the move. Now, it's not just the goaltending that has been good. We also have ourselves some guys producing big points for the Abbotsford Canucks. Top point scorer on the team is Linus Karlsson, followed up by Archie Baines, Sammy Blais, Phil DiGiuseppe, Max Sasson, Nathan Smith, Druj Harkera, and Ty Mueller. There are some D-men also producing some points afterwards, but we're going to get into that a little bit more later. But Linus Karlsson and Archie Baines have been carrying the charge in terms of the goals and the assists. Linus Karlsson, man, I'm telling you, this guy, the inevitable trade return for Alex Burrows if you go far up high enough in the hierarchy of Canucks trades. Burrows to Ottawa for Jonathan Dahlin, and then Dahlin over to San Jose for Linus Karlsson. That's the tree that we can follow here. Linus Karlsson was very good towards the end of his Vancouver Canucks stint, and in the AHL, he has been nothing short of a stud. Consistent point-per-game guy the past 2 years with the Abbotsford Canucks, and now in the playoffs, he has been showing that off a lot too. Some of the other names, Archie Baines has been putting in that effort. Sammy Blais has had some very interesting moves too. Danila Klimovich with the really nice overtime goal he had scored the other day too. There's a lot of potential here with this Vancouver farm team. Interesting to note, though, you got Jonathan Lekkerimäki, who only has 5 points in 12 games in the playoffs so far. He's only got 1 goal in the 12-game stint that he has had. Of course, though, Lekkerimäki hasn't been playing too much. He has just been kind of in and out of the lineup here. He's 20 years old. There are more mature names and guys with more experience that are getting minutes over him, so it's not really the biggest deal in the world here. Speaking about the top defensemen, though, hey, guess what? You saw it on the graph. The 2 guys that have the most points on D for the Vancouver farm team, Victor Mancini and Kirill Kudryavtsev. 2 names that Vancouver Canucks fans should be quite familiar with because they did play a decently significant role with the Vancouver Canucks in this previously completed season. Kirill Kudryavtsev had 2 games for Vancouver towards the end of the year. Good for him to get those minutes in and to actually be a +1 in the National Hockey League. And then for Victor Mancini, even though he may not have been as productive in the NHL like he's been in the AHL, he has still showed off a lot of skill, and he's looking a lot more like a Quinn Hughes light-esque player in terms of how he moves and how he creates and how he roves around the offensive zone. He's a stud. Absolute stud, and he probably will be challenging for a decent spot in the 2025-2026 Vancouver Canucks lineup. But with all this in mind, I wanted to go out there and read some tweets from Vancouver Canucks news summaries that go over some interesting narratives with the Abbotsford Canucks. One of the narratives has been about people leaving the organization. And the biggest way to get introduced to that is with the conversation about Manny Malhotra, the head coach. It's been posted about on different parts of social media, but it seems like Manny Malhotra is now the frontrunner for the Dallas Stars head coaching position that was since opened up with the firing of Peter DeBoer. Now, that is just one name, Manny Malhotra, in or out. Is he going to stick around? Who knows? He's got potentially NHL teams knocking on his door because of how successful he's been in the AHL, but it might not even just be Manny Malhotra here. Let's dive into Canucks news summaries he posted on Twitter here. Only 2 Abbotsford Canucks blue liners that have played in these playoffs are signed for next season: Mancini and Kudryavtsev. Guillaume Brisebois, Christian Wolanin, and Akito Hirose are UFAs, while Jet Wu and Cole McWard are RFAs. Soner Minio and Tom Villander's ELCs start next season. Additionally, Joe Arnstein has played 2 games these playoffs and is on a 1-year contract with the Abbotsford Canucks. He's played 12 games in Abbotsford overall. Now, what exactly is the point of this post? Well, to me, it's articulating how there could be some pretty big movement on the Abbotsford Canucks blue line heading into next season. Both Mancini and Kudryavtsev played NHL minutes this recently completed year, and I think for a lot of Canucks fans, they're projecting Mancini to be a legit NHL guy for next season. Kudryavtsev maybe not so much, but he could be in that bubble, if you wanted to say that bubble exists. So with a bunch of these other guys potentially on the move, Brisebois, Wolanin, Hirose, Wu, McWard, and with other names like Minio and Villano potentially being brought in for next season, there can be a lot of movement in regards to the way this Abbotsford Canucks blue line shakes up. Not to mention the goaltending. There's also a conversation there too. If Arturs Silovs is good enough to force himself into a 3-goalie rotation in Vancouver, then it's probably going to be Nikita Tolopilo, who is the main Abbotsford guy, and you're going to have to work down the lineup from there. The point is, the Abbotsford Canucks doing as well as they are right now, in the Calder Cup Finals right now, this is not guaranteed to happening again next year because a lot of personnel changes could be on the horizon. And as is such with the AHL and the way these teams function, right? You're not going to see the same guys in the same AHL team every single year because the league exists to develop NHL talent. It's not there to be the #1 competitive league that people aim for. You're not becoming a hockey player with hopes and dreams of playing in the American Hockey League. You always want to aim higher. So, while this opportunity is here, we got to take advantage of it as we can. The Abbotsford Canucks, the arena is rocking. Folks are buying tickets to these games, they're selling out quickly, and the excitement is brewing. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Abbotsford Canucks and some incredible Vancouver Canucks prospect stories that we've been looking at throughout this playoff run. Let me know in the comments who stood out to you the most and who do you expect the most out of heading into the final series. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.